It was nearly midnight when Itohan found herself standing at the rusted gates of the old graveyard. Her phone had died, and the main road was blocked due to construction. She had no choice but to take the shortcut through the cemetery. The wind howled, and the full moon bathed the cracked headstones in an eerie silver glow. She hesitated, gripping her Bible tightly. Her grandmother's warning echoed in her mind. The graveyard keeps secrets. At night, the dead don't rest. Itohan. The Lord is my shepherd, she whispered to herself, stepping through the gates. As she walked, the crunch of leaves beneath her feet seemed louder than it should have been. The air grew colder, biting at her skin. Shadows moved, but there was no one there. Then she heard it. A soft, raspy whisper floated through the air. At first it was unintelligible, like the murmur of a distant crowd. She froze, holding her breath. Whisper, Itohan! Her name. The voice called her name. Itohan! Who's there? She shouted, but only the wind responded. Whisper, help us! A chill ran down her spine. This isn't real, she muttered, quickening her pace. Suddenly a grave up ahead began to glow faintly, the light seeping from the cracks in the soil. The name on the headstone caught her eye. Nora, the forgotten soul. Itohan felt her feet move as if drawn by an unseen force. She approached the grave, her heart pounding like a drum. The ground trembled beneath her, and the whispering turned into an anguished cry. Don't leave us! Don't leave us! Panicking, Itohan tried to run, but the wind whipped against her, pushing her back toward the grave. It was as if unseen hands were gripping her, rooting her in place. Her Bible fell open in her hands, the pages fluttering wildly. Her eyes landed on Psalm 91. Desperate, she clung to the verse and began to pray out loud, her voice shaking. Itohan, he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. The cries turned into wails, piercing the still night. Shadows rose around her like smoke, swirling in the air. But Itohan didn't stop. She prayed louder, her words a shield against the darkness. Itohan, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. The glowing grave suddenly burst with light, illuminating the entire graveyard. The shadows shrieked and vanished into the night. The ground grew still, and the cold air became warm and still. Itohan collapsed to her knees, her breath ragged. The grave no longer glowed. In its place was silence, a deep, profound peace. She stood shakily and whispered, Itohan, rest now, Nora. From that night on, no one